Now here is the rest of this garbage that I could not upload the first. They say like, oh, you hold your baby in your arms for your first time. All this oxytocin is released. That's a love drug, and you bond with the child and shit. And I'm like, okay, what if that motherfucker's getting a buzz from other shit though? Like, right? What if he like feels that baby buzz and he's like, oh yeah, this is nice, but I need a fucking smoke right now. I mean, Jesus Christ, like, there's nothing that can compare to like the amount of bonding that a woman does with the child. I mean, she carries that bitch for like 9 fucking months, and then pushes that shit out, and then holds that shit up like Simba. I mean, that's being a mother. Being a father is like putting your dick in a lady. You have a good old time, and then 9 months later, you got this like fucking thing you got to take care of. That seems to be how a lot of fathers I know think about and go about the idea of having a kid. I mean, there's so many ways you can fuck up being a father. You can be not tough enough. You can be too tough. You can be too active in his life, and you can be not active enough. But, I don't know if a mother's job is harder. Because as a mother, your job, and this is from a 20-year-old dumbass. Boy, too, who's had no kids, ever. But I will nonetheless give my thoughts on the matter. As a mother, your job is to mainly provide love. As a father, if you've a son, you need to teach him how to channel his aggression in a positive way, and how to stand up for himself, how to be a man, essentially. That's going to get I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people who are like, oh, what do you mean, be a man? Blah, 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 blah. But you know what I fucking mean, all right? Take a little tiny, little baby man, little baby boy, and turn him into a man, okay? That's a father's job if you've a boy. If you've a girl, your job is to hand her self-worth, is to give her the knowledge that will lead to her recognizing herself as a valuable person. And I mean, it's also your job, if you've a daughter, to teach her what a good man looks like, to show her what a good man looks like. I mean, it might sound fucked up, but like they say every fucking girl like goes on to marry her dad or some shit like that, at least make sure that you're a fucking good man then, goddammit. I mean, Jesus, if you're a fucking scumbag and you show your daughter that like, hey, I'm your dad and it's cool to be a fucking scumbag, then like, don't be fucking surprised if she goes and gets with a fucking scumbag, bro. That's just how the fucking world works, man. I mean, Jesus. And if you have a son, don't be surprised, and you're a fucking scumbag and you're showing him, hey, boom, 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 I'm dad, it's okay to be a scumbag. Don't be fucking surprised when he ends up out there being a scumbag. And that, and that's kind of the thing of it, is that like, if you have a bad mom, or you don't have a mom, but you've got a really good dad, all you end up with is this like general hole and pit of sadness in your heart. if you don't have a good dad, or if you don't have a dad, period, then you still have that pit of sadness. You still have that hole, but you also like don't know how to do a bunch of shit. You don't know how to like be a fucking contributing member to society, basically. You don't know how to it really affects your self-esteem not having a good father, not having a father at all. And it might really need somebody to come along and tell you, hey man, you've got fucking low self-esteem and you got to do something about it. You got to start valuing yourself more. You got to start loving yourself. You got to start living for yourself. You know, it might take that to actually awaken that in somebody who didn't have a great father growing up. And really, you can just be a reasonably good father and be a great father. it's it's pretty easy though to be a shit dad. To just as I've seen on multiple occasions from multiple people, dozens of people, possibly 100 or more. Bad dads. Dads who are just like, you know, dads who are either just like, they fly off the fucking handle about nothing, or they're just not fucking around, and they're just like, man, I'd rather go do this shit, I'd rather go do this other stuff instead of all that boring dad nonsense. That seems whack, like, it's so easy to do that shit. It's way easier than like sticking around. And even if you stick around, it's easy to fall into I don't know. I mean, I guess it's easy if you're resentful of the way your fucking life turned out, man. I guess it's easy to fall into a mean, angry, bitter fucking way of being if you're angry about the way your life turned out in general, No matter if you're a dad or whoever, it's way more fucking apparent, and it has way more of an effect if you've got some little fucking rugrats running around and you're being a dickhead to everybody. Oh, man. Well, this has just turned into a big-ass fucking rant and a half. So, I think I'm just gonna wrap it up by saying, make sure you fucking, at least kind of know what you're doing before you pump your stuff into some lady.